In the ever-evolving landscape of British politics, few moments truly shake the foundation of leadership. But Keir Starmer, the Labour Party leader and potential future Prime Minister, may be facing one of his biggest political hurdles yet. And surprisingly, it's not from his usual opponents in Parliament, but from an unexpected quarter, King Charles III. In a move that has caught both political insiders and the public off guard, the monarch's latest action is raising serious questions about Starmer's path forward. So, what exactly is going on? The unexpected move that's stirring debate. In a democratic system like the UK's, the monarchy is typically seen as a symbolic institution, staying neutral in political affairs. But King Charles III has always been a monarch with a distinct voice, known for his outspoken views on climate change, architecture, and social issues. His reign was expected to be quieter, more traditional, but recent developments suggest otherwise. Reports indicate that the king has been actively engaging with key figures in government, raising concerns about national policies, particularly around economic stability and governance. Now, while the king's involvement is often subtle and within his constitutional role, insiders suggest that his latest interactions with government officials carry more weight than usual. Some are even whispering that his concerns align more closely with Conservative policies than Labour's proposed plans. For Keir Starmer, this presents a significant challenge. As Labour steadily gains ground in polls, his focus has been on presenting himself as the competent, responsible leader who can guide the country through economic turbulence. But if the king's perspective appears to subtly favor a different approach, it could create an unexpected narrative shift, one that Starmer and his team may not have been prepared for. A monarchy that speaks, a challenge for Starmer? While Britain isn't a country where the monarch dictates government policy, history has shown that royal influence, especially behind closed doors, can be powerful. The Queen's discreet yet impactful interactions with her prime ministers were well known, and King Charles seems to be carrying that tradition forward, but perhaps with a slightly more direct approach. Now, let's be clear. There is no evidence of King Charles actively working against Starmer or Labour. However, the timing of these discussions, coupled with the content of his private meetings, has created a perception that may not work in Starmer's favor. And in politics, perception can be just as crucial as reality. If the king's concerns align more with Conservative policies, particularly on issues like taxation, business regulations, or environmental policies, then Starmer may find himself in a delicate position. Does he publicly acknowledge the king's concerns and adjust Labour's stance? Or does he stick to his current path, knowing that going against even the suggestion of royal disapproval can be politically risky? This dilemma is particularly sensitive because Starmer has spent years positioning himself as a leader of stability and pragmatism. Unlike past Labour leaders who embraced more radical economic shifts, Starmer has worked hard to appear moderate, business-friendly, and competent. But if public perception shifts, if people start to believe that even the king is hesitant about Labour's economic vision, it could create doubts among voters who are still undecided. Public reaction and political fallout. Predictably, this situation has set off a storm of reactions. Conservative voices have been quick to point out that Starmer might not have all the answers the UK needs. Some right-leaning commentators have even suggested that if the king is expressing concern, perhaps voters should as well. On the other side, Labour supporters argue that this is an overblown controversy, designed to undermine Starmer's credibility just as he's gaining momentum. The British public, however, is divided. Some see this as just another example of the monarchy's occasional influence, nothing out of the ordinary. Others, though, worry about what it means for democracy. Should a monarch, even subtly, be seen as aligning with one party over another? For Starmer, the challenge isn't just about countering these narratives. It's about ensuring that Labour's messaging remains clear and strong. If he allows the perception to grow that his economic policies are risky or uncertain, it could cost him crucial voter support. But if he overreacts, he risks looking defensive or weak. It's a tightrope walk with high stakes, especially with an election on the horizon. What comes next? So, what happens now? Well, Keir Starmer and his team are likely working behind the scenes to manage this situation carefully. Expect statements that reaffirm Labour's economic vision while subtly dismissing any notion of royal disapproval. Don't be surprised if Starmer takes a more direct approach in his next few speeches, emphasizing stability, competence, and the long-term benefits of his policies. Meanwhile, King Charles III will likely continue his engagements, But the palace may soon feel pressure to clarify that the monarch remains neutral, as is tradition. The last thing Buckingham Palace wants is for the monarchy to be dragged into political controversy. At the end of the day, this isn't about whether the king supports one party over another. It's about how political narratives shape public perception. For Starmer, this moment is a crucial test of leadership. How he navigates this unexpected challenge could determine whether he maintains his upward trajectory, or whether doubt starts creeping in just as he nears the finish line. One thing is certain, British politics just got a whole lot more interesting.